Hi guys, Kaze here. Welcome back. We're back with a new series, Along the Edge. I got this as a free code thanks to the game developers for sending it, and I wanted to share it with you guys. It doesn't come out till October 12th of this year, and what the game is about, it's a visual novel set in the European countryside where your choices impact the main character's personality and appearance. And the main story is like Daphne's at a dead end. She's unsatisfied by her personal and professional life. So when she inherits an old family house in a remote part of the country, she jumps at the opportunity to start anew. Does she decide to embrace her legacy, or does she hang on to her old way of life? And by choices, let's put it this way, there's about 60 different endings to this game. So what I'm going to do for when we do this, we are going to do this, I'm just going to do my way. Gonna do it once so everyone get it, but try your own and see what you get for your ending, because pretty much there's 6 possibilities for different endings. There's 4 destinies for the main character. Romantic relationships, there's 3, and then you also have life and death choices for supporting characters. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that can change and happen. So yeah, there's definitely 60 endings, and I'm just gonna do my own story, or we're gonna be here forever trying to figure out all the different ways. That might take a while. So yeah, we're gonna be doing that. And this is a novel where it will change how you look. Your hair will change color, shape, the hairstyle, shape, all that stuff. It's so cool looking. You can see when you watch the trailer, it's nice. Anyway, I would like to get started with this with you guys, so let's get going. So I find the button. There we go. Start. Along the Edge is an interactive graphic novel. During your adventure, you will be asked to make choices that will define how your story progresses. Some of these choices will have direct consequences, forking the story in one direction instead of another. However, each of your decisions, even the most antecedent, will have an impact on the personality of the main character, Daphne. Let's click. Progress is automatically saved. The button on the bottom left brings you back to the last checkpoint. This allows you to read the latest sentences again, but not to change a choice you have already performed. So you're stuck. Unless you want to start a whole new game, you're stuck. This button gives you the menu, where you can display full screen windowed. As for the sound, I think I'll leave it on for now. Unless gets hit with copyright or something, then I'll turn it off. Otherwise, we'll just leave the sound on because it sounds nice, and I do quite enjoy piano music in the background. When your decisions influences Daphne's personality, 1 or 2 symbols light up on the top of the screen. See the globe, the sun, the star, and the moon. So we want to play with that. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. In Along the Edge, your decisions are neither good nor bad. The branching of the story opens different narrative hypotheses, shaping your adventure according to your choices. Choose wisely. So, I guess the way you could say how this is, it's kind of like a personality test. What you choose will change how everything happens. So, just go with the flow, see what you get. So I'm gonna see what I get, and hopefully we have a good adventure and not end up with a horrible time, right? So, is it settled? Yes, I need this fresh start. This inheritance is exactly what I needed to finally turn the page. I know you're convinced yourself of this, but are you sure of what you really wish to achieve by relocating? Yes? After all, Mir recently went through a major trauma, and there is still a lot of ground to cover. Between you and I, you know what I think of your decision, but I can't prevent you from leaving. Did you already find a job there? Yes, I did. I'm a substitute teaching for a math teacher at the village's middle school. A pregnancy leave. 6 months. It should give me enough time to get my bearings. Don't you mind giving up your PhD? Your research career was quite promising. No, I do, but I have no choice. I don't know. I don't have a choice. I don't know whatever trauma I went through, but I need a fresh start. Of course, I do, but it's the price to pay to get myself out of the situation. Then I have to give it a shot. I see. One last thing. I know your relationship with Frank is quite tense. It is. We broke up recently. You know, I used to count on his support. After so many years together, I need time. I guess you're fully aware, but you're going to break your ties with him. Are you sure you won't regret it later? Did you at least inform him of your plans? He knows. It's easy. Yeah, he knows. I'm not that mean. Yes, I did. It wasn't easy, but he had the right to know. It must have been hard for you to tell him, but you did the right thing. Listen, Daphne, you have my number. Please, don't be afraid to call me if you need anything. I'm counting on you. Okay, I will. Then all I can do is wish you all the best. When you're leaving? Tomorrow. Well, we're going somewhere. Chapter 1. Do I hit the button? August. Oh yeah, I do. I'm just like, I'm leaving tomorrow. I've inherited this family house, my grandmother's. I haven't known her, and now I never will. My mother had burned the bridges with this side of the family. The only side, by the way, since I had never known who my dad was. I remember the birthday cards, though. My mother had hidden them between 2 piles of laundry in the linen closet. If the link had been broken, was it my grandmother's fault? And here I stand, 10 years later, inheriting this big house 300 miles away, having myself cut off all contact with my mother. That's what they call karma, isn't it? The other PhD students asked me to meet them at the bar. I could always go see Frank to say goodbye. And of course, I can also just go home. What should I do? Oh, we already kind of said bye to Frank. We're gonna go home in the end anyway, so I must enjoy one last time with our colleagues, right? I went to the bar to meet the other students. I didn't have it in my heart to refuse. I never really integrated myself in this small group. In fact, all I think about is the career at the university. I know I regret giving up my research, but on the other hand, I didn't see myself having a brilliant career. Despite their cool, easygoing attitude, I know the others would gladly kill each other for an article in Nature. I'd never been at ease in this environment. All I ever wanted was to help advance science, add my stone to the building. I know it's a bit cliché to think that, but it's the truth. Science will have to make do without me, and I don't think it's losing much. I can't believe I thought they wanted to surprise me to celebrate my leaving, but then I hadn't told anybody, except my research director. He seemed a bit disappointed at first, and then not that much. I should go. I have to take the road early tomorrow. That's it. Everything I own is packed in a couple boxes. I like to be sad to leave, but I really don't mind. My last night here, I don't know what I'm hoping to find there. A fresh start? I'm trying to convince myself of that. Maybe Dr. Durant is right. Maybe all of this is nothing but evading the issue. Did my mother feel the same way when she left my grandmother's village 30 years ago? Am I walking in her footsteps after all? The difference is that she had me. I'm leaving alone. I'm asking myself too many questions. I've taken my decision. I can't afford to go back. I can't undo what I've done. I'll try to get some sleep. 300 miles. I got up way too early. The trip's gonna be long. Little by little, civilization slowly gives way to empty spaces. The highway is replaced by interlacing of small roads, and the clear directions given on the major routes turn into a tracking game, but it's increasingly trickier as I get closer to my destination. The road goes through the village, which I cross quickly. Although I thought I was getting away from the agitation of the city, all this peace and serenity seemed to hide something nefarious. Almost ominous. After a couple of miles, I turn into a dirt track overrun with weeds. I go through the gates marking the limits of the family domain. Then, on the right, I see a small stone house. That must be the outbuilding where the couple of wardens live. It was specified in the act of succession a notary made me sign. I decide to leave the car there. I don't feel like driving all the way back in reverse if the track turns out to be a dead end. Walking a bit further, I see a man coming toward me. He's carrying a rifle and a dead rabbit by the ears. Hello, miss. You're on private property. Did you take a wrong turn? Ask for directions. Apologize. Hello. I'm looking for the Delator family domain. Am I in the right direction? Oh, you're not lost then. Why are you here? I'm Daphne, Adelia's granddaughter. Gerard Boratin. I'm the warden. Nobody told me you were coming. Is the house open? No, well, yes. It's been a couple months now since Miss Delator passed away, so I'm with my wife, Gilberte. Gilberte? I'm not sure myself. All right. We made sure everything was weatherproof, but the door isn't locked. Really? Well, the only path goes by our house, and there was not a lot of visitors anyway. The villagers usually avoid coming up here, you know. Why? Why are they avoiding the house? People get worked up for nothing around here. An old lady living alone in a big house, and who doesn't go out much. That's enough to make them talk. Thank you, sir. I'll be in the house if you're looking for me. I'll send you my wife, Gilberte. Gilberte. She'll help you open the shutters. Keep going along the path. It's not very far, and you can't get lost. All right. Goodbye, Mr. Boratin. Have a nice day. About 500 feet further, the path in the woods opens on a kind of meadow where the house was built. Although several generations of Delators lived here, I discovered this legacy for the first time. The building is impressive with this tower in the middle of the barricade. The last remnants of an older version of the castle, certainly, at the origin of my family name. As promised, the door isn't locked and opens on an entrance hall plunged in darkness. As I cross the threshold, I am seized by the coolness of the oak stones, breaking with the sheer heat of the midday sun shining over the garden. I can't see much of the room, but its size promises to be intimidating. That might be nice change from the tiny city flats I used to live in. I'm desperately trying to open one of the windows to let the light in when I'm surprised by a voice coming from the entrance. Miss Boyd. Miss? An older woman is standing at the threshold. Yes? My husband told you were coming to the house. Are you planning to stay for the night? Much more than the night. I'm moving in. Oh, and call me Daphne, please. I get my share of Miss and Madam when I start working at the school. Are you aware of the inheritance? So you're the Madam's granddaughter, then. I used to talk about you a lot. She used to talk about you a lot, you know. That's my bad. I remember you. Well, I mean, it was a long time ago. You're still a baby when Miss Sophie left. Adam never got over it. Well, I'm sure you have a lot to tell me, but can't you do it while helping me open the shutters? Yeah, please, I'd love to see. Oh, now you finally have come out of the shadows. Oh, sure, I'm sorry. And so are you moving into the castle? You're going to work at the village's middle school, aren't you? Yes, I'm a math teacher. I'm going to teach there. Well, at least for the next 6 months as a substitute. So, tell me, how do you want us to proceed? I mean, I know you've been working for my grandmother, but I'm not sure I can afford your services, if you see what I mean. The inheritance left me barely enough to cover the cost of the house for a couple of years. Oh, don't worry. Gerard and I, we retired 2 years ago, but Madame didn't forget us in the legacy. She was kind enough to let us live in the outbuilding for the rest of our days. We'll help for as long as we can, my husband and I. We've done this all our life. Work doesn't scare us, and anyway, it would be boring to have nothing to do all day. Alright, I was more than welcome, but I guess you're... That's great news. Without some help, I don't know how I would manage to get everything done in such a big house. And we'll be happy to give you a hand. Would you like me to get you some groceries from the market tomorrow? I used to do it for the madam. Since Miss Sophie left, she didn't go out much. No, don't worry, I'll go. It'll give me an opportunity to check the village out. Miss Boyerton helps me make my bed, the windows now wide open, let the stuffy smells out, while ushering in the golden light of the sun setting on this nice summer evening. Then she leaves me alone for my first night in my new home. I started watching the antique television in the kitchen while eating. For dinner, the leftovers of a sandwich I brought earlier on the highway. I tried to get some sleep, far from reassuring sounds of the cars and the lights of the city, with this forest silence only interrupted by disturbed squeaking of floorboards and the hooting of a hunting night owl. It's not surprising I got up in quite a bad mood, and if the sight of the empty fridge hadn't pushed me to act, I would certainly have succumbed to the inviting comfort of the sofa and wasted my day napping in the living room. The market wasn't exactly what I imagined. We had all this romantic notion of picturesque little country town market, but this one was nothing but purely functional. Nothing romantic in the butcher's stall, nor in the fishmonger's radio, tuned and way too loud on a local station that seemed to broadcast at this hour of day a playlist of songs that used to be popular, but are utterly old-fashioned nowadays. I'm buying some bread when somebody boldly cuts me in line. Well, nice of them. Give me 3 baguettes and 2 nut breads. Slice, please. I'm sorry, but I believe it was my turn. It will only take an instant. Don't worry. Whatever. I'm new to town. I'll just keep it calm. I don't care if it takes an instant or 10 minutes. You're not from around here, are you? What does that have to do with anything? Listen, miss, please inform yourself before you start making a scene. It's a little embarrassing. Excuse me? See, I'm done already. It didn't take that long, did it? Have a nice day. The man put some change on the baker's hand before disappearing in the street. It's kind of rude, though. Seriously, who's this guy? You're not from here, are you? It's Malther's son. His family owns a sawmill that employs half the town. As for the other half, they're all in business with them, one way or another. Does it give him the right to behave like this? You shouldn't cross the Malthers, you know. They've been in town for generations, and people say all sorts of things about them. What kind of things? Strange accidents, businesses selling bankrupt. People are quite superstitious here. This makes sense, really. This shouldn't take advantage, though. I'm sure they're going to remind me that I'm not from around here, but taking advantage of the villagers' credulity, it's disgusting. Listen, I'm leaving the work area soon, so you'll understand I don't want to drag myself into this. The others told me to be careful with this family, and I don't want any trouble. I see. I realize I've already been here a couple of days, and I hadn't taken the time to visit the house properly. With my tight schedule, I stayed in the main rooms, going from bedroom to the kitchen through the living room. It's high time I took advantage of the weekend to give myself the grand tour. Maybe I learned a thing or two about my grandmother and this family I know nothing about. I could also ask a couple questions of Miss Boyerton. Until now, she remained very evasive. If I go see her outside her work hours, she might be more inclined to answer me. She's a very discreet woman, and somehow always manages not to be in the same room as me. If I leave the kitchen for a while, take a shower, for example, when I come back, I always find out that leftovers of my breakfast have been put away, the table's been cleaned up, and the dishwater is gently humming. Dishwasher! I've told her several times not to make my bed, but I'm perfectly capable of doing it myself. She seems to acknowledge, but keeps making it the next morning anyway. So I guess you might enjoy a friendly visit. Where should I start? Whew. The tower. My mother's old bedroom. I want to see my mother's old room. I'm kind of curious. My grandmother used to live alone in this big house, so she kept most of the rooms closed to stay in the ground floor on the left side of the building. I've taken over her quarters, and with the night getting colder, I'm happy I don't have to keep the whole house warm. I checked the other rooms, the parlors on the ground floor, and the multiple bedrooms above. Everything seems frozen in time. The furniture covered with white linen sheets may be waiting for better days to return. Like when Adelaide wasn't a widow yet, and my mother was still living under her roof. Her old bedroom hasn't changed in 13 years. Even I can tell that someone has hurriedly made room for me. this baby who was about to be born. There are still some band posters from another age pinned to the walls in the crib where I might have spent my first few nights before my mother decided to leave. But there wasn't any white linen sheets to protect the furniture in this room. It looks like it had been cleaned up very recently. Interesting. What should I do next? I'll check the tower. I'm having fun. I didn't find the entrance of the tower. I searched inside and outside the house, but no door seemed to lead into it. After randomly exploring the corridors and the rooms, I had to admit defeat. I'd have to ask Miss Boyatine about this mystery. However, while I was searching for this damn entrance, my feet took me to the basement, where I discovered a treasure of old wines. The most recent bottles are around 30 years old. I guess my grandmother wasn't much of a drinker, and the cellar must have remained untouched since her husband passed away. Did my mother come here during her teen years, defying her parents' rules, to steal a bottle to share with her friends from the village? Was I conceived during one of these parties, celebrated by sacrificing these rare vintages on the altar of youth, with my mother Sophie not being sober enough to resist the charms of her young local farmer? When I was old enough to ask, she always answered with a hand gesture that my father was from the village, and hadn't wanted to recognize this child he didn't ask for. All in all, she said, we were better off without him. Maybe I could bring a bottle to Miss Boyatine. Sure, why not? It's my house. As I take a bottle from its shelf to decipher its dusty labels, it slips from my hand and breaks. Well, I did a great job of that one. Suddenly, I am overwhelmed by this feeling, as though I was violating something sacred, traveling the memory of my grandfather, who might have selected this precise vintage to celebrate something special. I began to question my intentions. Is offering this wine an honest mark of affection toward a kind old lady, or am I planning to get Mr. Boyantine drunk in order to extort more information from her? What? It's like, take another bottle, don't take another. That doesn't tell me if I'm giving it to her or if I'm getting sort of info. But I want to try another bottle. A right Bergeron. She should like it, and anyway, I don't have to drink myself blind, Miss Boyantine. I'm sure I can drink responsibly. What should I do next? Well, I have not much left to do, so let's go ask the lady. Good morning, Miss Boyantine. How are you doing? Oh, hi, Miss Daphne. My joints are aching today. Must be the weather getting colder. Summer always goes so fast. It's almost fall already. Can you believe it? But enough talking about me. I'm sure you haven't come around to hear the old maid complain about her rheumatism. How can I help you, miss? Oh, well, so many questions. Well, I'm holding this wine bottle. I might as well just give it to you. I found this bottle in the cellar. Would you like to share a small glass with me? Oh, I'm not sure it's reasonable, miss. Allow me to insist. It'd really be my pleasure. You wouldn't let me drink by myself, would you? All right, then, if you insist, but just a small glass for me. And something else. How about another drink? Well, we already got her drinking. So, tell me about my mother, I guess. I want to know more about her. I visited the house, gone to every room, and I noticed all the furniture was covered with white linen sheets. Yes, it was Madame, your grandmother, who asked me to close most of the rooms. She lived alone in the house, and she never had any visitor. It was to prevent the furniture from being damaged. Why are you asking? Do you want me to open it up the rest of the house? No, that's not why I was asking. One of the rooms, I guess it was my mother's old bedroom. Why wasn't it closed, as you say? Because Madame asked me to keep it freshly cleaned. You know, when Miss Sophia left, it broke her heart. She wasn't the same afterwards. Right until she died, she never gave up hope your mother would come back. She asked me to make her room every day, just in case, she used to say. She would have loved to know you, the pretty young woman you've become. Oh, I'm sorry, I digress. Must be the little pick-me-up you've brought me. Something else? Well, tell me about the good old days. Tell me how it was like, in the old days, I mean, before Mom left. When your mother left, we were already at the end of the rope, if you allow me, miss. We were only your grandmother, Madame Adelaide, and Miss Sophia living here. Your grandfather died when your mother was still a little girl. An illness that took him without warning. The doctors don't know what to do with this poor man. But when he arrived, it was something else. There were lots of people living in the castle. The cousins, the uncles, the aunts, and a swarm of children. What happened? I don't know, really. There's some unexplained deaths, accidents. Some of them left the area, got out of touch. It all started when the malters brought the sawmill. There must be a connection. Well, what's the connection? Do you really think there might be a link? I mean, there's no logical connection between buying a sawmill and these accidents. I can't tell, miss. All I can see is that is when the malters flourished and the delators withered. I mean, Malter's son in the bakery. Ah, this hooligan. I know it's not my business, but you should be wary of him. He's a good-for-nothing who spends his time doing who knows what hanging around in his car. I agree with you. I don't judge yet. I'm sure he's not that bad. With the family he's dealing with, it mustn't be easy. Well, since you're asking about the past, would you like to see the old picture albums? Sure. Tell me where I can find them. I'd love to look. Thanks. The cupboard in the living room. There's even some pictures taken by your great-grandmother. Great-grandfather. You'll see. Grandfather. Something else? Would you like another drink? Can I top you off? It's quite early, miss. I'm not sure that would be such a good idea. Oh, please, I insist. Come on, you're not going to make me beg you, are you? Just one last, please. All right, I guess it won't kill me, right? Must be the first time I took a bottle from the castle. It'd be a shame to let it go to waste. But it's my last, so you'll have to call my friend Gerard to bring me home. Don't worry, I'll keep this between us. It will be our little secret. Something else? Yes, I want to ask you about that tower. I couldn't find the entrance of the tower. Do you know how to get inside? Well, I can't say, miss, no. I can tell you how to get in if my life depended on it. Madam, your grandmother used to say it would be walled up, and we'd rather not know what was inside. Do you mean that no one got inside the tower since, 30 years ago? 40 years ago? Well, way more than that. I'm 67. I've been living here since I was 14, and I always knew a tower like this. And so no one knows what's inside, right? You must have your own idea, don't you? You must have heard the stories these idiots tell in the village. Witchcraft and such. Don't listen to them. Your grandmother was a great woman. A great woman, you hear me? The real sorcerers are the Malters, this damn family of devil worshippers. Everything is their fault. What? Witchcraft? Really? Tell me, what's the story? Well, I really put my foot in my mouth, as they say. Must be the wine. But I've talked too much already. Please, don't insist. Something else? I wanted to know. I guess not enough wine. Alright, well, I guess that's enough. Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you. I'll come back later. What should I do next? I could question her again? I'm back! I want to look at the albums. I found the pictures where Mrs. Boynton told me they would be, to discover that my great-grandfather had an early passion for the darkroom, and that his photographs from the last century had survived time. The family was larger then, with the swarm of children in the gardens and large tables at the holiday gatherings. If I could read worry on the adult's face, if the future ruin and derelict of the house Delator could ready crack the walls, yellow the wallpapers, it wasn't showing the old daguerreotypes? I don't know that word. I don't know. Pictures! I found a couple of pictures of my mother, as a child first, then as a young girl. I must admit I was moved by this discovery since I had never seen what she used to look like when she was younger. The last pictures showed her belly growing rounder and rounder. And then, nothing. No pictures as if nothing worth documenting had happened during the last 30 years. Talking to Mr. Boynton roused my curiosity. The tower, the village, the Maltese, and I thought my relocation would mean living a life of austerity and isolation. What's going on in the village is, I must admit, much more intriguing than I anticipated. Unfortunately, the chores of everyday life catch up with me before I have the leisure to think about it. I have no choice but to dedicate the last days of August to the preparation of my classes in the middle school, and I didn't realize how time-consuming it was. So I spent most of my time confined to the house, boning up on the textbooks of each class I had been given. Then, the first day of school arrived, and I quickly found my bearings in my new job. I would never have thought that teaching mathematics would give me so much pleasure and satisfaction. Thus, I quickly got into a routine, and days began to pass me by like trains. Trains? Oh, and we hit chapter 2, so I'm going to wrap it up there. It was a pretty interesting beginning. Learned a little bit more of my history of my house and what has been the fall of our house. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, Kaze out. Bye guys. Let me know what you think of the visual novel and check it out on Steam. And I'll leave a link to that in the description area down below as well. Alright, until then, bye. Kaze out.